Hello everyone, and welcome to my corner of the world. This is my Sunday live, and it is July the 16th. So I'll just give you a few more minutes for folks to join us, and just to let you know that today I'm going to be doing a 3D item. Earlier this week I was sorting through some cupboards because we're actually decorating one of our spare rooms, which kind of has a cupboard in that accumulates stuff, and I came across this little notepad. And I must have bought it with something in mind at some point in the past. So I thought what I would do was work through some ideas for decorating a notepad. I have videos on doing other types of decorated notepads, smaller ones. Like these little sized ones, but I've not really done anything quite like this before. And if we have time, I thought what I might do is to take one of these sized pads, so this is 5 by 8, and see what I can do with one of those as well. So that's our project for today. And I pulled out some supplies that might be good to use. So my go-to greetings, I've used this so many times in the past, you will be familiar with that, and I like this particularly for this project because it's got a greeting called just a note. How perfect is that for a little notepad? So that's what I'm also going to be using. And I pulled out a couple of other things. So I pulled out the decal rectangle dies as well. I might use those. And then these dies. So these are the Dainty Delight dies. I have not yet used these. They're brand new to me. And I wondered whether or not I'd be able to use those. And then this paper pack. So this is called the Delightfully Eclectic Paper Pack. And you can see that there's just all sorts of designs. I've got some that are cut into 6-inch squares, which might be a little bit easy to share with you. Okay, so if you are just joining me, perhaps you just go ahead and let me know in that chat box that you're there. So I don't think this is all of them, but anyway, here's the papers. You can see lots of different designs, lots of colour. We've got floral, we've got fruit, we've got geometrics. We've even got pretzels in there as well. And then of course, as always, they're double-sided. So again, we've got more geometrics, more florals, a lovely stripe. Okay, that's on the back of this pretty one. And it'll look like an accounting book. That's an interesting one. Oh, daisies. Love daisies with lemons on the back. And then, so there's lots of different designs, lots of colours in there. So my starting point for this is the fact that this little flower has got purples in it. And that's what I'm going to use. Those are the colours I've decided to use. And so let's give this an airing. So for size wise, let's see, this is about, let me put some glasses on. This is about, well, it's just under 4 inches there, and lengthwise it's 8.5, and it's about 3/4 of an inch, sorry, just over 1/4 of an inch thick. And then we've got this piece, so there's a magnetic piece that's actually sticking onto my ruler there. So I want to try and make sure that that magnetic piece is still active. So I've got about 5/8 of an inch there. Right, so I'm going to need a piece of cardstock that is 4 inches wide, this plus the thickness plus about 1/2 inch on the background. So I'm thinking, so if I do that just over 8.5. Now this is the tricky bit because it's a bit more than 1/4 of an inch. Right, so let's get some paper. Now I am going to use the Highland Heather cardstock. I think that will go well with the pretty flower on my pad. So there's my card, and let's get my trimmer. So I know I need it to be 4 inches wide, so that's my starting point. 4 inches wide, and I'm going to add my score line before I trim my length. I think that would probably work better. So I'm going to put a score line at 1/2 inch, because that is the back. That's my piece for the back. So that's going to go there, about there. And then I'm going to measure up this piece, because this is, so this is actually 1/4 of an inch plus, wow, 1/4 plus, that's an 1/8, a 1/16. Ooh, so let's make it slightly larger. So 1/4 plus an 1/8 would be 3/8. So I'm going to make this 3/8. So 3/8 plus 1/2 inch. 3/8, that's going to be 7/8. There. So that should give me my piece there. So if I put my folds in like that and get my little pad, let's see what we've got. Not bad. And you see, I've got a nice fold. And then I need to bring this down. And I said I had to do that 8. And I want it just slightly 8 and a tinsy bit. And I'll explain why I need a tinsy little bit. So let's lay this down, and so we need 8 and a tinsy bit. So with any luck at all, I should have a nice fit. Oh, well, I must have aimed that wrong. Let's see. We have to do this again, folks. Oh, it's 8.5. Oh, you silly Billy. Okay, let's try again. I've got another piece of card. That's me not double checking what I'm doing properly. But that's what happens. That is what happens. So I said that we were going to do a score line at 1/2 inch, and then at 7/8. So let's double check that. Okay. So now I need to go down 8.5 plus a tinsy bit. Let's see if I can get it right this time. Right, keep your fingers crossed. There, that's better. Now, the reason I wanted it a tiny bit longer is that when I go to pick the cover up from the pad, I want to pick it up and just the cover, so that I'm not picking up bits of sheets of paper underneath. So that's why I just wanted it a tinsy bit longer than that. And I'm thinking that I might just shave the tiniest, weeniest little piece off. It's just a tad too long. And when I've done that, we'll be able to measure the piece of card and we'll know what we actually had. I hope that's not too much, but time will tell. Put that up there. Right, that's much better. That's much better. Like you can see that there's just the tiniest little sliver just to hold for your thumb there. Okay. Right. Now I've made it slightly wider because I want it to just cover the edges of the pad, because the pad itself is literally the tiniest bit. It's about a 1/16 of an inch below 4 inches. So doing 4 inches gives me a good gives me just a slightly piece over the top. So then I'm going to use some double-sided tape and we're going to add that to the flap that's going to go at the back and the bit that's going to go on top of the pad, where the adhesive is that attaches all the pages together. Right, so I'm going to lie this down. I'm going to take this page. I've managed to lift a page off, so I'm going to lie this down on my bench here, and I'm going to line everything up and then remove my paper. That one won't work, it's got a score tool on it. So here's my paper. I'm going to take that off and take that off, and then just push my pad up into that fold and then fold that over like that. Now we're going to get my bone folder and really give that a firm, like that. Alright, so there's my cover. Well, it needs something doing to it, doesn't it? It can't just go like that. So we're going to do some decorating. Now my front piece, as I say, is 4 by 8.5. So I want to use one of these papers, and I quite like this geometric design. This comes in 12 by 12, by the way, so I've just been cutting pieces down for me to use. So let's think, do I like that directly on there? Will that be strong enough, or should I get some extra paper? Let's see. I could get a slightly darker paper there, maybe. Let's go see what I've got. I want to make the cover quite sturdy, so maybe if I put a layer like that, will that do the job? Right, well, let's go in for it. So I just need a piece. I'm going to do a piece that is 3 3/4, just 1/4 inch smaller than the front of my pad, and that is 8.5, so 8 1/4. I'm not going to forget that half, am I? Not after goofing up on the first attempt at cutting the cover. I think that's quite nice. Yes, I like that. So this piece of paper, we are going to cut this, so that's at 8. We've got to do this piece at 8, and that will give us another 1/4 inch border. So there's 8, and so that was 3 3/4, so this has to be 3 1/2 inch. So that piece is going to go on like that. So get that stuck down. Right. So I'll probably put that onto some dimensionals, but that's pretty. I mean, and it lifts up with that little sort of thumb piece really nicely. So what am I going to do about decorating? I think, where did I put? I love these deco edged dies. They just give a, well, I don't know, they just give a certain finish. That one's too big. So's that. So it looks like the third one in might be the one to use. So that's going to fit on there really nicely. Okay, so I think I got some scrap white cardstock here. Let's see if it's going to be the right size. Okay, there's the right size. So let's get our little friend out. So I've got my base plate and a number 1 plate. Is this going to fit Ooh, just my lucky day. I need to trim that piece of cardstock down. It's just a tinsy on the wide side. And let's just take a tiny bit off and see if that will fit. Now it will. Right. So I'm just going to layer up there and put a plate on the top. Make sure everything's lined up. Just push in until it gently bites and then crank through. Ooh. Now it doesn't matter if you're getting all those cracks and creaks. It's just the dye going through. There, I like that. That can sit there nicely like that. So we're going to need to do some, I think we're going to do some die cut pieces. Now I've had this die set which is called Dainty Delight. I've had this for a few weeks and I haven't used it yet, and it's been really burning a little hole in me that I haven't done it. And part of that reason is, look at this leaf. Oh, I haven't even taken it off. It's going to just take a bit of persuasion. Look at this leaf stem. Ooh. Isn't that gorgeous? Just absolutely delightful. So I think I'm going to use that. We've also got a nice sort of a daisy type die, so we'll use that. And there's some nice leaves, and there is a stamp set that coordinates with this, which I am not using today, and some of these outlines are to cut out the stamped images, but I am just going to use the dies that don't require a stamped image. So let's see what we can do. Right, so I'm going to cut a couple of these daisies, and I'm going to use some of the colours that I've already put into the basic part. Don't quite know how many I'm going to need, so I think I'll do 2 in this colour, which is the Highland Heather, and I'll do a couple in this colour, which is called Bubble Bath, and that is the colour that's in this paper. So we're pulling all the colours through and making them work for us. So there is that, and then for this leaf I have got a piece of old olive. We're going to need to trim that down. And I've got a lot of space there. I'm going to put this little one in as well and see what that does. So this is going to be quite a fancy notepad. But hey, whoever gets it is going to be thrilled. Right. So I'm going to put my dies to one side so I don't lose them. Pop my little machine away and the plates. See where we are. Now when I've got these highly detailed dies, to get them out I just wiggle them around and then they should fall out without too much trouble. Wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, come on. There's a lot of detail in this tiny one. Let me put my glasses back on. I can't see what I'm doing now. There we are. Come on. It's all cut, it's just a tiny little bit of fibre that is just holding on for dear life. There we go. And then there's just a few little pieces in the middle here that just flick out. And what I love about this die, hopefully you can see, I'll bring it up slowly so it doesn't make you seasick. It's already embossed. All the leaves have got little veins on them to give them what I like to call life. Right. So let's see where we stand. Now I'm going to have this go over like this, I think, because I've got to work out where to put my greeting on here. Now, do I need 2 or do I need 3? This one can come in like that. Now, I know what I should have done, and I've got it here and I forgot to use it, was my adhesive sheets. Ho ho, because I've got some fine sticking down to do now, but I'm not going to let it worry me. So let's see what we need in terms of space. So I've got several gesture notes. I've got a nice big one. That's a medium one. There's a big one. Oh, I don't think that's going to do it. No, we can put that one away straight away. But let's see what else I've got. So there's this one, and then there's a very small one. I think this is the one that's going to do it like that. I think that's what I'm going to do. Or should I just go across the corner? Let's just go across the corner, because you know what I say is stamping is supposed to be fun, and if you're going to stress about getting your greeting centered, level, whatever it is that you're looking to do, it's not fun anymore. So let's just check out this stamp. And lovely. That's it. That's all the stamping I'm planning on doing on this one. Alright, so let's go and get this put into place. So I think I might stick this down first, and then I can then add my floral pieces once it's in place. Now we can go and put these pieces on. So I'm just going to put little dots of adhesive on the backs of the leaves. If I'd remembered to use the adhesive sheet, which I obviously planned to do, or thought about doing since I got it out to use, but I just got so excited using this die that I forgot. Right, let's see. I'm going to get some tweezers just to hold this in place. So I want it to kind of come off a little and curve round. I think that's looking pretty good. I like that. Anybody else got any comments? I'd appreciate if you just give me some in the chat box there. Let me know what you think about what we've got going on here. Now my flowers, I'm going to give them a little bit of life, and I'm thinking, do I put single or should I put a couple together like that? Maybe I could put a there. Okay, let's give that a go. So what I have here is my piercing mat, and I'm going to make sure I've got a cap on the putty end of my take your pick tool, and I'm going to press in gently to give me a nice cup on my flowers, and then we're going to put some a glue dot in between, and I'm just going to layer these together, just offsetting them slightly so I get a very pretty effect. So that's that, and then I'm just going to just cut these two gently like that. Right. Aha. So if I put this one down the bottom here, and I can then attach these two, I think, up. It reminds me a little bit of clematis. So we'll pop one at the top here, one halfway down, and then I'll put this one toward the bottom, like that. Ooh, before I do that, I haven't done anything with this. So this needs, I think this needs to fill some empty space. And if I put this flower over the join, I think that will give me a nice neat appearance. So let's just add some adhesive. When I do this, I'm barely squeezing the bottle. I'm hardly putting any pressure on the bottle at all. So let's do there. And we'll put that one there. I'm just pressing these down to make sure that those glue dots are working for me. Alright, so what do we think? Just think about that die set for a moment. I'm wondering if see, this little piece here has got like little blossoms, and I'm just wondering if there's a die that cuts the little blossoms. There doesn't appear to be, but no matter. Oh, what's this? What's this? This has got like lots of little, maybe that goes on like that. Oh, just a sec. Let us go ahead and experiment with this one. Just got to see what this one does. Bear with me. Like I say, this, when I do my lives, it's like a voyage of discovery. We're doing this project right from scratch. All I've done is had an idea and I've pulled the idea, a few products out to work with, a few supplies, and then we work it through together. Alright, so these little pieces, if I flick, oh, not quite that hard, Cindy. No, they're not going to flick. They're all cut, but they're so tiny that I'm not quite sure what that does. I don't know, I'm not sure I like that. I'm not sure I like that at all. Okay, it was a thought, but it didn't go anywhere. So we're going to do some pearls. Now I wonder if I should put some pearls on those little pieces there. I think, yeah, that's better than the pinky bit that I was looking at just now. There. Now, if you know me, you know I do love my ribbons, and although we don't have a Highland Heather, we do have this one, which is the Orchid Oasis. And do I need to put a ribbon on there? No, I don't think I do. I've got enough on there. I don't want it to be too overwhelmed. Right, so let's just do the final bit here, and because I've got a big piece to stick down here, I'm going to use the foam adhesive pads, and these are lovely. It's like a sheet of the Stampin' Dimensionals that hasn't actually been cut into the hexagons, and it means now that you can actually cut your own pieces to whatever size that you want, and they're double-sided, so it's just like those dimensionals. And you get, how many sheets of this? You get 6 sheets, and it is 4 1/4 by 4 1/2. So it can cover quite a lot of area. Now I don't want to cover the entire back of my piece, but I'm going to cut a piece for here, and then I'm going to cut 3 strips. Because A, I want this to actually stick down well, and B, I don't want it to sag in the middle over time. So there's that piece, and I'm going to put one in the middle and one either side. And that should give it a good base. Let's pop this here. Get rid of the scissors. Now, just hover over until I'm happy that it's lined up, and then it's done. Well, what do you think? I think anybody getting this would be really, really happy. It would make a lovely little gift, and I just love the way all the colours have come together. Plus I've had an opportunity to play with that new die set that's been sitting on my workbench and waiting for attention. So if you've enjoyed this, go ahead, give me a thumbs up. So I promised that with a little bit of time, and we've just got a little bit of time, I would show you maybe how to do a bigger one. I don't think I'm going to have time to decorate it up, but I will show again how to create the cover. Because once you have the cover, you can let your imagination really go when it comes to decorating it up. Right, so this is like 7 7/8, and then my top piece is 3/16. Ooh, 3/16, and then I've got a piece, I'm going to go 1 inch on the back. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. I'm not going to cut the length until I know what I've got and what I need. So this is 5. I'm going to cut this about 5 1/8. And I think I'm going to make this, I decided I would make this a one for the fellas in our lives, because, you know, guys need to make notes as well, don't they? So I'm going to do a flap of 1 inch on this one, but over the back. So there's my, now I really do need to find 3/16. Oof, 3/16, Cindy. I'm sure that they're on here. So that's 8, so that's a 6, that's a 16. So 1 inch plus 3/16. Right. Let's see. Oh, that doesn't really look very big at all, does it? Right, well, let's see if it works. Because I can always... Ooh, yeah, it does work. Look at that. Okay. So now we're going to cut the length that we need. And I'm going to measure again so I don't do a little snafu like I did earlier. And I'm just going to measure this down. So if I cut this 8 inches from the fold, let's see what we can do. 8 inches from the fold. So there's my fold. That should give me a nice, and there, if you can just see, there's that little finger, that thumb thing I talked to you about earlier, just so that you can just pick up the pages of the cover without picking up the pages. So at this time I think the tape is going to be a weeny bit big for there, but let's give it a go. So I'm gonna put plenty of tape on here because I don't want it to fall apart. I don't think I'm going to put that, put it actually on the crossover piece. So again, the same technique. I'm going to line up the pad so that it is centered, and then we're going to, ooh, that one won't work. These two tools are exactly the same, only I've got a scoring tool on the end of this one, and I've got my piercing tool and my putty tool on the end on this one. That although you can swap them in and out all the time, I find it easier to just have a couple of the tools and just dedicate them to what I want, what tool I want. So I'm just going to make sure that I've got my sides centered up. And it's pushed up against that first, and then bring that over, get the old, and so there we've got our cover and we've got our little lip, so we can pick this up. Right, now this is another of the papers from that eclectic set, so I thought I'd use a nice one for the nice sort of masculine type one, and I'm thinking that that is Misty Moonlight. I'm going to go and get some Misty Moonlight card. And we're going to put a layer underneath this time. So let's just see, that's like 5. We're not going to do the same thing again. We're not going to goober up. So if I do this 4 3/4, so 4 3/4 this way, like that. So that gives me that, and then this is going to be 7 1/4 this way. So let's just pull this out. 7 1/4 this way. And then my paper, so this is 4 3/4, so let's do it this way first. So that is I cut that a bit on the short side. Okay, we're not going to let that worry us. I did it again, didn't I? So if this is, so this is, I did it 8 so 3/4 of an inch. So this is 5. So if I take another 1/4 of an inch off of here, I get more of a surround. That's fine. I can live with that. There, that's nice. Get more of your colour contrast, she says. Even though she goofed up again. So that's like 7 1/2. So if we make this 7 1/4, and we're going to measure this up again so we don't goof anymore. 4 1/4. Like that. I'm going to stick this down here. Like that. Now this one is bigger, so I think I might be able to use, not that one, but this one, like that. And I know that this won't go through my mini. Leastways, I don't think it will. Oh, it will, it will, it will. So let's see. Let's go ahead. And I've just had an idea for this one, and to decorate it up in a sort of handsomely fella sort of fashion. And I'm not quite sure whether I will be able to get this done, oh for goodness sake, Cindy, in the time, because I don't want to spread into another hour, because I think we've been going about 51 minutes, so that's just, I want this to work, I want this to work, please, please, please work. It's going to take some really careful lining up here, because I haven't got my big one handy. Please, 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 please work. This die is just a tiny little bit wider, oh, but it worked. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There's a tiny little bit that didn't quite there. Right. Now, I have this stamp set and I haven't used it yet, and this is what I'm going to do very quickly so as not to take too long. I'm not going to put my labels on the back, although normally I would. Let's get a block for that one, and a block for that other. Like that. Right. So let's see. We get some Misty Moonlight ink. And this is like an ocean. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Beautiful, beautiful. And then the other thing I have, which we are going to do in crumb cake, which, where is crumb cake? This is one of my older pads. This is a ship. Listen to me, like I'd never done anything before. Just like I'd never done anything before. But I haven't used this stamp set before, so I have no idea what it was like. So just a note. And there we have a fella's version. Well, I didn't think I would get this finished while we were, because I had no idea what I was going to do to decorate it. Now I have got some crumb cake ribbons which I could put across the bottom. Maybe I could do that just to give it a little bit of extra pep. I'm going to use my tape to do that. Well, I hope you're still hanging in with me, everybody. I really have let my imagination go wild with me today. So and basically this is how I design my classes. You know, I kind of mess around with bits and pieces and decide what I'm going to use, and then I cut bits, I discard bits. So you're kind of seeing things as they happen. So if you come to my classes, this is how I work. Right, so let's just do a couple of pieces up the side. So this is that lovely sheet again. See how it's so much easier than using the individual dimensionals when we need more coverage. Let's do this. Let's pop that round like that. Tie that off, make it look as though I have wound that piece of ribbon around. And then just to make sure it doesn't move, we'll put a glue dot underneath. You should see my workbench here, people. Either side, it looks like a bomb has hit it. Okay, so there we are. So we have taken two very ordinary looking notepads, and we have turned them into something quite extraordinary, make a beautiful gift for somebody. And we've showcased the Dainty Delights dies. I have also very quickly introduced you to On the Ocean stamp set there, and we also used, and I think it's probably one of the first times I've used these on camera, is the foam adhesive sheets. Well, I do hope you have enjoyed working alongside of me today. I have enjoyed sharing my ideas with you. If you've enjoyed it, perhaps you'll go ahead, give me a thumbs up. If you don't subscribe to my channel, maybe you could do that. And if you're watching on a replay and you have any questions or comments, then you can just put a comment in below the video here, and I will enjoy reading it. Well, I will be back next week with another live, and I look forward to seeing you then. Bye bye for now.